Welcome to the X-ray facility. My name is Robert Moorhead and I'm the experimental officer who looks after it. The nearest first aid box is here behind me in the kitchenette, next to the stairs and the lift. If you need first aid, we have first aiders on site. Dr. Ode Hussain, who looks after the basic characterization lab, is our main first aider, but also Madge is a first aider too. There's Ode. Each of these panels contains information about who runs the labs. In an emergency, dial 4444. To access the lab, you will have been given a PIN number by Card Access EFM at sheffield.ac.uk. You first have to swipe your card and then enter the 4-digit PIN and it will unlock the door. When entering the lab, just like all the other labs in material science, it's really important that you wear your safety specs. If you haven't brought yours and need a spare pair, we have a couple behind the door here. Here we have a fire extinguisher for extinguishing small fires. Remember, your safety is priority, so if you don't feel comfortable using the extinguisher or you feel that the fire is out of control, please leave and just use the fire call point on your way out. Next to that, we have a spill kit for collecting small spillages of liquids. And after that, we have a mop. The mop should be used if there's a small spillage of water coming out of one of the instruments. Next to that, we have dustpans and brushes for sweeping up any powder that may have been spilled. We have an eye wash station and a sink. Next to that, we have some of our waste streams. We have a sharps bin, that's primarily for razor blades and needles. The glass bin, which is primarily for glass slides that are uncontaminated. And then on the other side, we have two refuse bins, the recycling bin and the regular waste bin. If your samples are suitable for the regular waste, feel free to dispose of them in here, but if they're not, then you need to take the waste away with you because we don't have means to process it in the lab. If the fire alarm is sounding, your nearest exit is through the doors, through the double doors on your left, and out through these doors here. The fire call point is here. Lift the lid and press the button as you leave. We go down the stairs and out the fire exit doors. Out these doors onto Flora Street to the end here, turn left and meet in front of the church. Each of the prep benches is equipped with some blue roll and some isopropanol for cleaning the area and for cleaning the sample holders. It's really important that you clean those before and after use, and that you don't clean them with water. If you clean them with water, they'll go rusty. Also on the benches, you should see the SOP for the instrument, and this is where you should place the COSH form or risk assessment for your sample. You must bring one with every sample that enters the lab, because should you have to leave for whatever reason and can't return, I need to know how to deal with your sample safely. In the X-ray lab, the most common risk is from water. The large instruments are cooled with a chiller that's on the roof, and the water is pumped through the instruments to cool the X-ray tubes. If you see a large water leak and you feel that you can deal with it, simply press the red emergency stop buttons on the instrument, go behind them, and you will see these red handles. If you turn them so they're in a horizontal position, that'll close the valve and stop any more leakage. If there is a small water leak and you notice that it's coming from one of the pipes with a Jubilee clip on it, up here we have a 7mm hex wrench that should allow you to tighten those up and stop the leak. It's really important that if there is any leaks, that you report them to myself at xrd@sheffield.ac.uk. Each of the X-ray instruments generates ionizing radiation in the form of X-rays. You can tell that these are being generated by these big orange lights that are on top of the instruments. The X-rays are kept sealed within their tube towers at all times unless the experiment's going on, and interlocks lock the doors when the experiment starts and the shutter opens, firing X-rays at your sample. We make sure that this is safe at all times by inspecting them regularly and having them serviced regularly, but it's really important that when you open the shutter, you do some checks too. To check for radiation, we're going to use this, a Geiger counter. This Geiger counter, which is next to the Expert, similar to the other ones, first we need to turn this switch to back check. What that does is it makes sure that the battery is fully powered. You can see here it's in the green, so the battery is okay. We then turn it to on, and we can start to hear clicking. If you don't hear clicking, it may be that somebody has turned the clicking off with this switch. This meter gives us the number of counts per second. You can see that here, with background, we are about 3 or 4 counts per second. That's perfectly safe. To check that the thing's working, we have a source on the side, which will increase our count rate dramatically when we put our tube in front of it. Now it's really important we take care of this tube. This is very delicate, so don't smash it on anything. And make sure when you put it back, it clips into the holder here. If I put this in front of the source, you can see the count rate increases massively and you can hear a lot of clicking. That means that it's working and we can take it to the instrument. When checking the instrument, it's important to think about where the X-rays are going to be firing. So the X-ray tube is on that side, so the X-ray will be firing at this wall, and the X-rays are most likely to leak out the seams. So I'm going to check all of this back wall. We can hear that the background radiation isn't increasing, so we're always at about 3 or 4 counts, maybe up to 5 counts. I'm going to come round, I'm going to inspect the door seams. They're all safe, we're not hearing any increasing in counts. If you do see an area with an increasing count rate, it's important that you return to that area and run the Geiger counter over it again, just to make sure that there is something leaking, and if there is, you want to immediately stop your experiment by pressing abort and come and find me. Once you're finished, clip the Geiger Muller tube back on top, and I'm going to switch the machine off. It's really important that you switch it off, otherwise it will run out of battery. Once you've done that, you need to fill in our radiation logbook. That can be found by scanning this QR code, or if you go on the web browser on the computer, you can find it there too.